Good day. Welcome, everybody, to the MUFC Realist TV Managers Press Conference. Guys, it's an exciting one as we get ready to face Brentford away at the City Stadium. Guys, it's your boy Mark, an MUFC fan. I'm hosting today for Mick. He's unable to be here, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the background watching while he's taking a day off. I'm going to be joined by Vicky today. Hopefully, Widderbird is going to be here soon. She was here just now, but she'll be right back, I'm pretty sure. Guys, welcome. What are your thoughts? What are your comments? Let us know what you are thinking. What is going on? And what are the questions? What is the big points for today? What do we want to know? What do you think the press is going to ask the managers? And how is he going to fare? What players are available? Who might possibly be the starting 11? And let's get the show on the road. Take this time, guys, to smash those like buttons and subscribe. Don't forget, to leave a retweet if you can. And you know what? Leave a comment, guys. Big up to all of you joining us. Let's get it in the road.
Hello and welcome to MUFC Realist TV. I'm a member of this channel, but you should subscribe or in this show, we're gonna look a cow in the ass. Let's go.
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Welcome. Dit is mijn home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
Big up, guys. And we're a few minutes away from the MUFC Realist press conference. I'm about to bring Vicky to the stage. Hi, Vicky.
Hi.
How are you doing today? Hope you're well.
A bit tired. Okay. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just excited to hear what the manager has to say. It's been 2 weeks away from Manchester United football, and it's what we live for most of the time. It's fun. You know what I mean?
Have you not watched it yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It's about to premiere in like a few, unless you've seen it already. So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're about to broadcast it live on MUFC on the Manchester United website. So I'm just waiting for that. It's supposed to start at, my time is 2:15. In English time, it's 1:45. So, like 10 minutes from now, it should be live.
That's all right. Oh, I kind of know what's been said, not by whom, because I should have written it down really. But he's in a good mood.
Well, I hope he would be, because after the performance against Liverpool, I would say it's the onus is on our players to just come out and give a similar performance on the weekend. We're away this time though, but I don't think that should phase us too much. But Brentford hasn't been really good in the past few weeks, so for me, it's not one of those things we'll be worried about. But let's hear what the guys in the comments has to say. I think Lucky Singh is here. Good day to you, Lucky Singh. He says, hopefully Martinez and Evans will be fit to play. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Oh, they never mentioned Evans, actually. Mentioned Martinez.
Well, we'll hear about that shortly. Lord Voldemort is saying, good morning. Into the fray we go. One of those things. Barman is saying he was obviously somewhere much nicer than Manchester. Maybe, you never know. I'm waiting to see what happens. So all of you who know what happened, big up to you. Good morning to you, GB. Welcome. Big up to you guys. I know you're now getting in. I know a lot of people have watched the press conference by some means before, and I know Vicky's itching to talk about it, but we're gonna wait a little bit until.
Don't know what that means.
Oh well, I mean, itching, like it's like you want to talk. You look like you want to talk about what you.
Oh no! I know what that means. I didn't. More that comment.
I don't know. Oh, my bad. I was just, highlighting everyone that came in. Sorry. Dark Crow, Lucky, who is the... Oh, I don't know, bro. What you mean by that? Evo Bossage, the only reason I listen to the manager's pressers is for SPL reasons. Well, I mean, you got to get good scores, right? It seems Martinez could be on for a few minutes. Really hope not. I mean... I don't know, like Martinez has been injured, I guess we could talk about that before the press conference start, because at the end of the day, he has been injured and, he's coming back, he's in recovery, and he's been out for over like 2 months now, a month and a half. And, we'd all like to see him play, but I don't mind if he doesn't start tomorrow, because for me, the big game is really against Liverpool. So I would keep him on the bench and I would probably play Lindelof. I feel like that should be enough. I mean, it's just Ivan Toney at the end of the day, so it's one of those things. You all right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that, on whether Martinez starts or not? I know you heard the press conference, but just your genuine thoughts on that.
Well, he's a bit one of those players that if he's fit, and probably not fully fit, he'll want to play, so he'll do what he can to play. Because can't really talk about it because of the whole press conference thing. Because what I want to say is obviously what's been mentioned. So,
well,
yeah,
okay, fair enough. You know, I was gonna change the time and start it a bit later more because I'd prefer to start like 5 minutes before the press conference starts.
it's a really
Because for me,
short one. It's only 5 minutes long.
yeah, because it's embargoed again. You know, they're gonna bring out the second section on like probably 10 p.m. tonight again, as usual. You know, and Stuart Wally is saying, "Big up, he'd rest him now until the end of the season."
But you know that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Sadly.
I don't think so, but I like to see him get some rest this week. To be fair, I would just bring him on for the game against Liverpool. I feel like, you know, we did Brentford early on the season with him out, and we could do it again with him out. You know, it's one of those things where I would keep some of the players who need extra rest and give them extra rest. You know, I'm not too bothered if we start Mason Mount in a more advanced 8 role and we play Bruno in a deeper 8 role next to Kobe Mainu and let Casemiro get some rest as well. So it's just one of those things that I'm thinking about right now. And I'm not a huge fan of Mason Mount.
No. Well, I don't see what he brings at the moment. I think he was going to be replacing Bruno, but I don't think it.
Yeah, that's a big task, to be fair, for him to replace Bruno. I mean, a lot of people might not like Bruno's performance this season. A lot of people might like to see him leave, but I'm actually terrified that if we put Bruno up for sale, Man City's going to buy him because he's a like-for-like replacement for Kevin De Bruyne at the end of the day. And I think any coach would love to have Bruno in his team. So I don't know. I just think sometimes there's a little bit recent bias in how we react to the performance of players during the season. I feel like even I was guilty of overreacting on Onana because I felt like he cost us the UCL. But you know, he's been performing better and better and better each game. I feel like I cannot say anything bad about him. I could only say good things over the last performances. Even the games we concede, he still has a lot of great saves in those games. So it's one of those things where I think at some point you got to sit back and just say, you know, hey, you know, maybe the guy is having an off season or off few games or something like that, and he will get back his form. Because usually Bruno used to be like the best player for the team, if not the second best in the last 2 seasons he was here. So
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the one thing is like I have seen a lot like saying, is it because the being weighed down with the badge and everything like that? But I don't believe that's the case because he was already being a leader when Maguire was captain. So I don't know if that's really going to be the case. I do think that Bruno at times looked a bit more burnt out more than anything. I was quite glad that he got to leave Portugal early and get some more rest.
yeah, and that was really good. Like I felt like we had quite a few players in the squad who went on international duty, and then they were able to come home early after the first game and get some rest. Even though Kobe Mainu played 2 games for England, I felt like it was still good for him. He's young. I know a lot of people are worried about burnout, but when you're 18 years old, I think you have so much energy. It's probably hard to sleep. So it's probably good that he's getting the time to run about and, you know, keep himself in form. It's also one of those things where I feel like for Rashford, I was kind of disappointed because I know normally when he goes to England, he has that feel-good factor, you know, in the England dressing room and playing with England. And he usually turns in a good performance, but he wasn't unable to show a good performance. But I still don't think that's a bearing on what he's going to do on Saturday. I think if he comes into the team and he's fit, because a lot of people have been saying, you know, maybe he's been carrying a knock for a few weeks or something like that. So that's why he's not been at his best. And, you know, if that's the case, then get him rest. You know what I mean? I feel like Ahmad is unavailable as well because of a red card. I'm disappointed in that because it's like he can't get some consistent game time going. But he should be back in the game midweek when we face Chelsea on Thursday. So at the same time, I feel like he will get his chance. So maybe it might be a time Rashford might get some rest. We might see Anthony come out on the left side. We've seen him play in the defense in the last game, and he did really well at the left back position. So I feel like, there are some options available to the manager now. And with these players, coming back into fitness, it gives him a little bit more confidence to do what he wants to do. And, we have a 10-game run that has going to come up. We're going to have I think it's 6 games away and 4 games at home. But the big games are at home against Liverpool and the second game of the last game of the season, which is against Arsenal at home. But most of the other games, I think we are away. We're at Stamford Bridge. We're at Brentford tomorrow. So it's like, I think it's not a bad run if you look in the grand scheme of things. I think it's pretty much easier than most of the top teams above us. And, if we could just focus on ourselves and maintain the game in front of us at hand and take it one at a time, keep the spirits up. I know it might be a shout, but we might be there and thereabouts for UCL berths, whether it be in top 5 or top 4. I'm taking it,
I'm a little nervous about the game. I've seemed to be more nervous with startings of games with what you're saying, but I think there's some good things that we can deal with. Is the fact that Reguilon is not going to be playing, and since he's come with them. Yeah, he does a lot of. He likes to be carded, but he's quite an impactful player. And that's when on the big games where they were playing as a back 4, he sort of he goes up and then they go into a back 3 because he actually is more of a midfield setup. So that I'm positive about that. I actually think Ivan Toney's been so overrated. And then since he's come back, I'm not being entirely sure that he's good enough for Brentford for the Premier League. The fact that because I was on a Brentford podcast earlier, so when we were talking about how he should be right now, and that's what I'm worried about, pushing out hat tricks and things like that. Excuse me, because he's got a price tag and he's quite open about it. Brentford fans aren't really concerned because they believe that they've got 2 strikers that they can continue on with and have some actual good money coming in. But yeah, so I am worried that because he's not been playing very well, that he's going to want to go and push in some serious goals. And the only other thing that we have is the fact that you've got that 4-0 looming over you. And when Man United have that sort of pressure, they either crumble or they do really well. They either do what you did when it was a draw, but you drawed at Anfield, or you do what you do when you went to City. But so I think knowing that Martinez is back and intends to start on tomorrow, 8 o'clock kickoff though. How do you feel about that, Mark?
That's a bit late. You know what I mean? Well, it's 9 p.m. my time at the same time. So it's like, the same really when it comes to Champions League games at night anyway. So it's going to be a late one. But at the same time, I feel for the fans who go away because, when I was in London, I used to go to away games and that's pretty much in the neck of the woods where I stay at. So it's pretty nearby. So I would have been going to the game and, knowing in advance that the game being moved back means there's no train services on the national rail coming back at that time is really difficult, for fans because the last
I was meant to go, but that was the whole reason I'm not going is I can't get home. I don't live I live on the north side of Hertfordshire, which is, near Cambridge. So yeah, just getting back, it would have been a nightmare.
100%. I just feel like, they need to do something better about this. Like maybe this is something that the new owners could probably take into consideration when they build a new stadium, maybe have a arrangement with a monorail that runs from their stadium that goes south, at least, so that at least it could connect somewhere where fans could get home when they go to away games or at least get to the stadium, something like that. So it's just one of the things where, the future planning needs to be worked on. I feel like it's something that, they should have a better grasp of. They've been doing this for the last 20 odd years plus. And, the focus should always remain on the safety of fans who go to games as well. I know it's also important that fans viewing all over the world, because that's where the major viewership comes from. But at the same time, I feel like it's something still you need to border in between, because fans are equal fans no matter where they are, in the stadium or viewing. I feel like it's the same.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that's the only reason I'm not going, because I was going to go to the Brentford game last time, but then there was a train strike. So then I had to take the bus service, and my bus service broke down. So, and it was such a hot day, and I'm a bit relieved that I didn't go after that game, because it was.
Yeah.
But the one good thing you got to think about is that after Brentford played Liverpool, beat Liverpool, and then we went on this amazing run that got Manchester United into third, that got Manchester into finals, winning the Carabao Cup, and beating Barcelona. So hopefully Manchester United should be walking in on the momentum of beating Liverpool.
100%, 100%. Because at the same time, like, I mean, I never would think that, we're not one of the teams at the best in the Premier League. I mean, we may not be having the best season, but we're always one of those teams that we could, on the best day, we could beat almost anyone. And Ten Hag has proven that before last season in multiple games, but I feel like now it's one of those times where there's so many falls throughout the season where we lost some games poorly to different opposition that a lot of people are like, are we even good enough anymore? Because if you look at on the social media, Manchester United players rarely get into the combined 11s, and the press conference is about to start, guys. Sorry. Let me bring it to the stage.
I'm gonna go get a t-shirt on. Cold.
It's very good news for Manchester United.
There's a lot of hype around him after that performance for England. Do you have to be careful with that and manage it closely?
Yes, but we have discussed this before, and so far, and he handles it very well. And if he across the lines, yeah, of course. I as a manager, we as coaches, we will interfere. But so far, it's not necessary because he enjoys football and he wants to win and he wants to give his best every day. because he wants to improve. And as I say, he just wants to have fun on the pitch. And for him, it's fun to play dominant, to dictate the game, and to win the game.
Gareth Southgate said this week that Luke Shaw is unlikely to be involved for the entirety of the Euros. Is there an update on his progress? Do you expect to see him back in the United shirt this season?
Yes, I expect him back. I think before the end of the season. That is the plan, and he's still on shadow on this. He will return into our team.
Sure. Eric, a lot has happened since your last trip to Brentford, the second game of last season. But how significant was that game? Because it did lead to quite a few changes.
It's such a long time ago, and we come. I think we come a far end from that point. And of course, after that, we put a marker on the mentality, also on the culture, on the standards. We have to execute day by day, and I think we have made a lot of progress after that.
And they're the sort of masters of set pieces. Is that something that you've looked at ahead of this weekend?
Yeah, we know that, but there are many more teams in the Premier League who are masters of set plays, and also that fact we progressed as well. But we have to be ready for them. Absolutely.
Last question in this section.
Eric, just on injuries, Martinez, you would hope to have him involved tomorrow. Is there a chance Martinez will be in the squad against Brentford?
Yes, there's a chance. Yeah.
How much have you missed him and his unique sort of suitability, the left side centre back?
I missed him, and we missed him every game because he brings a composure in the team, a calmness in the team, and in the same time, so winning attitude, and he can express this very clearly. He can transfer that into the team, and that contributes a lot to our levels.
Well, you can see the press conference in full from 10:30.
Big up, guys. That was the manager's press conference there. I'm sorry you didn't hear the first answer to the first question because it was on mute. That was my mistake. I hope you guys don't be mad at me for that. But, I think genuinely from what the manager was saying, from the questions that he's asked, you guys seem to be responding well to his responses, But what are your takes from it? I will go to you first, Vicky, and then I'll go to the questions in the chat and their opinions.
It's interesting to hear him talk about Martinez and just sort of saying exactly what we all know. I really it really sort of says to me he's starting, isn't he? Because Delo has been taking on the mentality of Martinez, and he's been doing really well from it because obviously he's one of the most improved players this season. So when they're having them together, it brings such a steady back four sort of thing where that's the way the style of play wants to come from in the world of Italian football.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, Martinez, he is very key, one of the key cogs in our style of play. He sets everything from the back, the tone, and he brings the ball forward. He starts that expansive play that we call playing out from the back. And it's one of those things where he's always going to be important for the team. This is why I'm always saying that, maybe, if we go into the transfer market, we need to get a player that's of a similar ilk, left-footed as well, could, similarly comfortable on the ball. So if he needs to get rest or he's injured again, God forbid, then, the style doesn't change and we can still continue doing what we want to do, how the manager expects us to play. I'm particularly happy about the way he reacted to the question about Kobbie Mainoo for England. And I feel like, he was one of the ones who was supporting Kobbie on his journey, because at the end of the day, as a manager, you're not going to want to keep him to yourself. He's a player, any player across the world, whether they play the best for any club, they're always going to want to play for their national team. And that's a privilege, more like an honor in a sense, you know what I mean? So it was good the way he reacted to the question, the way he answered, because I think anyone would be happy for Kobbie Mainoo, whether or not you're a Manchester United coach or a Fulham coach. I think it's all the same.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of times that we were talking about injuries, we've still got that Phil Marsh coming on, the ex-Man United player, on Monday on that show. So that should be interesting, because talking about injuries it can be really frustrating, but coming from an actual player should be a great insight.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. And when he was asked about the Brentford game coming down to the end, where he was asked, how significant was that game the last time we played Brentford, when we were on a not so good run at the time, and when we won that game, we went on to win, I think it was 5 or 6 games in a row, and it was a tough game, and we were without Martinez that time. So it's one of those things where the manager is like, I feel like
Martinez did play that
he did.
game.
That
Yeah.
wasn't the game. He wasn't back yet from injury. I think he came on with like 5 minutes left or something.
Yeah. Are you talking about the one in October or the one from
The
last
one in
season?
October.
Oh yeah, he came on for a little bit,
Yeah.
didn't he? Yeah.
So for me, it was like, a lot of the teams, when we look at the run-in that we have coming up, almost every team minus Liverpool and Arsenal, we've beaten already this season. We're in line to do league doubles over each and every one of those teams that we face. And I would back the team to do that. Even though we haven't performed well at the beginning of the season, I think the guys would take confidence in the fact that, listen, we weren't at our best earlier, and we still beat these teams. So it's definitely possible. With the update on Luke Shaw, I pretty much kind of expected that he would not be back probably until maybe the end of April in the last few games. I mean, a muscle injury of that measurable size is like, it's huge, because it's like, it's not really something that you can gauge with time with the muscle repairing. So it's one of those things. What are your thoughts on the last question that he was asked about when, one second, about the what? All right. When he was asked about having to kick on about after the game against Liverpool, I feel like that was one of the questions that he answered. And how do you feel about his answer and about personally yourself?
Well, the one thing you can say is that Erik ten Hag looked more comfortable and confident than he has done in certain press conferences of late, don't you think? And I think that means that the most interesting thing he said is that they have gone out on their international breaks and gone in from one style of play. We need to get them back into our style of play.
100%. And it's always different, especially with the vast amount of countries that our players represent, from Sweden all the way to Argentina. And that's a huge ask for any manager to get these players back into that rhythm. I mean, in some cases, they might be playing a similar role. In Bruno's case, in similar styles in some other cases, but genuinely, they probably would be needing to do a lot of hard work this last 2 days. And I mean, we face Brentford tomorrow. It's an away game. Gesundheit.
Sorry.
It's all good. We face Brentford tomorrow, and and I know it's going to be a difficult game. And at the end of the day, we're away, and the Bees would be looking. And as you were saying earlier about Ivan Toney, that he is one of those players that has a huge price tag, and maybe he might be really, really up for the game to make a statement, because of course, you heard recently, I don't know if you heard recently that, Arsenal might pull away, Chelsea might not be interested. So then that basically leaves us and probably Spurs at best. That
really, I just don't want Ivan Toney. He just seems like drama, like a Pogba kind of vibe of drama, and I literally want Man United to get away from that. And do you think he wants to play second fiddle to Haaland?
I don't. That's the problem. That's the whole big issue for me. I feel like when we are looking at strikers, a lot of fans look at players and, oh, this guy would be good and that guy is going to be great. I'm the same sometimes, but if you look at what's happening with our squad right now, if we are bringing in an Ivan Toney, that means we're going to have to bench Haaland, and I don't think that's progressive for the squad or for his career. I mean, I would look more for a player like a Giroud or something that, he's also experienced, but he's not going to come in and demand a starting role. He wouldn't mind coming in a few minutes here or starting a few games there. And I feel that is a much better buy than an Ivan Toney in the sense that because he's not going to come and take time from Højlund, but he's going to come and help him and show him how to do things with the little time that he does start ahead of him or come on for him in games. And the biggest impact will be in training, because that's where he will do most of his teaching. So I feel like getting maybe a striker of that kind of style, or in terms age bracket, in coming down, and maybe get a younger striker who might be able to compete with Højlund. But if I keep it 100% a buck, there's Ethan Wheatley coming up from the under-18s in the academy, and I think unlike Charlie McNeil and unlike Joe Hugel, he is prolific. And not only prolific, but he's very physical. He can take that fight, and I like his moves and stuff. So maybe we might see some shock stuff happening. We might see him come into the team. There's a lot of youngsters training with the first team at the moment, So you never know.
But the one thing I will say is that you shouldn't be buying players with such a high profile from England, from the Premier League, because you can't afford it. Every time you should be looking more outside of the box, and I think that's what they'll be doing rather than looking at English players, because like you saw the whole Harry Kane thing. They don't want to sell to Man United, so the price is already high, and then you add the Man United tax and all this other stuff on that you're not going to get an English striker or a Premier League striker, because the wage is just too high, and Man United really struggle with FFP
right now. Yeah, because over the last few years we have not maintained well, we have not spent well, we have not monitored these things. We've been, I think, although we've been doing really well in the marketing side, and we are always going to be a profitable club with the size of the fan base we have and the amount of views we get. It's one of those things where we need to do better business going forward. And it might mean cutting back on spending. It may not mean we're not going to spend 200 million in the summer, but it might mean that the players that we're going to buy are probably going to come younger and maybe with more potential. And maybe we might be purchasing a tune of maybe 20 to 35 million per player, where we could get a bulk of players for that money based on what we currently have. And you never know, maybe we might have some shock sales in the summer, and maybe that might bolster the transfer hopes, because I'm pretty sure I heard some rumors that if this is true, we might be back in for some players that we've been chasing a long time, and that might be a marquee signing where we might actually spend 70 to 80 million, which I hope to avoid, really and honestly.
I always fancied, and I think there was talks about him coming in the end of the 21-22 season with Sesko. But I guess that is true. He wasn't quite Premier League ready, but he seems to be right now. So I feel like he could be a good format to come on.
I actually like the kid a lot. I watched him in Nations League last season, and especially in the game against Norway. Jarvis will never forgive me for that, because I always tell him about it. When Sesko came on, Norway was leading 1-0, and he came on and he scored, and then he got the assist, and they had no reply, and they ended up winning the game. So I pretty much like the Benjamin Sesko. I think he's very good on the ball. He's quick, he's agile, he's able to create stuff, he can cross really well. He's almost like for like, if you want to compare to Højlund. And he's young. He's not going to demand a starting place. He's going to be willing to fight. So
he's banging out goals and assists right now, left, right, and center.
And he's not doing it with a lot of starting minutes. So it's one of those things for me where it might be the right mix, because you know what, Højlund doesn't need to play 90 minutes every single game. And then there's probably next season Carabao Cup, there's FA Cup, there's probably Champions League. So, he would probably get enough minutes starting in one or two of those leagues while Højlund starts in the other two. And then, he might come on in some games, and it's going to be fun to watch, in my opinion. You need to have competition as much as in every position around the park as you can, especially if you want them profile for profile, because I feel like the only way you get the best out of players if they know they could probably be replaced if they don't play well. And it also gives the manager a headache for selection, and that's what you want ideally when you have a squad, because at the end of the day, we could have the best starting 11, but if someone is missing, we might be like Man City, because if KDB is out, they don't create well. If Rodri's out, they concede goals. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you want to have a more of a squad than just a starting 11 going forward.
Yeah. The only one thing is do you think that Casemiro is going to be playing? I've just had this weird feeling that Eriksen might be coming up for minutes, not obviously a whole game. Don't forget, people can play and be substituted. He does bring a calmness, and he actually can cover spaces, just not as quick as, I guess, McTominay, but McTominay can't defend. So I think he probably wants to come and, like, because obviously he created that second goal against Brentford last season. Maybe he just wants to come and, like, give himself some minutes, give himself some, like, credibility, because he is a great player.
True.
Because I do believe that he's leaving at the end of the season, and probably wants to go to another team.
I mean, to be honest about Christian Eriksen, he's a class player, to be fair. I could never really say too much bad about him. I just feel like, the situation is not fair to him. You know what I mean? Obviously, he lost a yard of pace when he had the situation with his cardiac situation on the pitch. So, and based on that, he might not be able to go full throttle consistently as he would have been used to, but that doesn't diminish his ability as a player and what he brought to the team. I just feel like I would prefer to start McTominay, because as much as he can defend, he still offers that combative nature. And what I have to say in his defense is that in the last game when we played Liverpool, he was actually scanning for oncoming defenders and players before receiving the ball and moving. And that, to me, it lifted his game a whole nother level in the game against Liverpool. So if he could repeat that against Brentford, I'd have him start, and I'd bring Christian Eriksen on for the second half to close the game out, because I feel at that point it's going to be a much easier job in the midfield. Also, it gives us a basic, how do I say it? It gives us a way to, create something different, do something different in the closing minutes, and maybe create some space in terms of scoring maybe one or two more goals, to make it a comfortable finish.
Yeah. And I completely agree on that, because he's never been the same since that injury that he had. Was it the Reading FA Cup last season? He's just not come back like Eriksen was, because Eriksen was one of our key fit players when he joined. Was it 2 seasons ago? And he's just not been the same.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when I look at Eriksen and I look at, like, this young player that we have on loan, that he was injured the last few weeks, so he wasn't getting much game time. I'm talking about Dan Gore Jr. I'm saying, it's not so bad if we were to lose Eriksen in the summer. He would probably go on and to a team that he wants to play for, and he would get more minutes. And then, United will get an opportunity to have a young player come in that's like for like in replacement, in my honest opinion. And I think Dan Gore Jr. will do well. So, it's one of those things where football, it moves on, and it's tough to watch, especially when you like the player. Like, players like Varane and players like Casemiro. Like, Casemiro is one of my favorite players, and it's just, for me, it's tough this season with him because he's not been at his best. And maybe it's catching up to him. Maybe it's sometimes the cards and the stigma that's been against him that has the referees treating him a certain way that throws off his performances. But at the same time, sometimes progression does that, and we can't really say the player is bad, but it's just not having a good time, really. So, I mean, I do hope that we get the victory against Bournemouth on Saturday. It's going to be a big game. I hope everyone is going to tune in for that. I hope that you were able to go to the game, but sorry that you're not going to be able to make it. I think it's not too bad, though, since you said you have a record of that.
Yeah, so I have every away game I've ever gone to, Man United have lost.
Well, maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's for our top 4 hopes. Maybe you took one for the team, and that means that we're secure in the win tomorrow for sure. Because usually, I would say this, I have a record. Every game I've been to at Old Trafford, we've won.
Yeah, me too. Never seen them lose at Old Trafford.
Yeah, so
yeah, sorry.
It's one of those things. No, it's all good. It happens. It's the season. Fall. It's springtime, so the flower, pollen. Some people have allergies.
It's just children. They bring every single germ imaginable.
That happens too, I guess. You know what I
It's
mean?
really quiet in this household. They've gone to their dad's for Easter, so it's well
Oh.
quiet.
That must be deafening for you, since you're probably accustomed to the noise of them being around.
Yeah, when you wake up and it's like, where are you? What? And then you go, oh, Adam, where are you? And then I just realise, yeah, it's with his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. I do hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, just like the rest of you in the chat. Big up to all of you watching. Thank you so much for joining us today, because you know what? It's the manager's press conference, and he was there to discuss ahead of the game versus Brentford, where we will be away tomorrow. It's an 8 p.m. start, guys, so don't forget, those of you who are tuning in wherever you are. Those of you in Australia, I know Kenny Fan said it's 6:15 in the morning, so it's going to be great for him. I know for me, it's going to be 9 p.m. And for all those others, you know, I hope you enjoy the game. Man United, I hope they win. My score prediction was 4-1. I know Vicky had a similar score prediction. I know
3-2.
D-Hub
I
Sports.
want carnage. Just
You want
absolute carnage.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I don't know if my
I've
heart...
literally, lately, just like a bit of drama, or like on the pitch is quite nice for me. Like, not the players, just like the whole thing. I want like another last minute game. I want like people pissed off. Yeah, let's just go for it. Sorry, are you allowed to say that?
I mean, I can, but you see, the way I was looking at the game was I felt like Højlund back in action in the Premier League. Yeah, this guy's going to bag. And, you know, I've been saying for a long time he's going to score a hat-trick. And I think this weekend is that time. So that's why I said it. But I know, you know, as much as I dislike Ivan the Terrible, I feel like he might still grab a goal somehow in a cheaty moment. But you know what it is. I know my buddy D-Hub Sports is coming in, and I know he predicted a 3-0. Yeah, you're always late to the party, bro. You were supposed to be on the preview with me this morning. You didn't wake up in time. Don't worry, man. Catch you later. Big up to all of you watching. GB, salute to you. I know I had to mention that, you know, this Oliver Giroud thing, because, you know, you're always talking about him. And now other fan and content channels are talking about possibly getting Giroud as well. People laughed at us, GB, but you know what? We still here.
GB is like always quite good on player facts. He's quite a little amazing person in the chat all the time. Much appreciated.
He's that American Italian guy that everybody likes, you know, and he has a Caribbean diet, so I like him a lot. You know, he likes the same things that I like, so it's good. It's good on him. Good on him. Big up to you, Lord Voldemort. Everyone in the chat, wishing you, hoping you feel well soon, and you know, you have a great day. Big up to all of you watching us, and if you have the time, guys,
that age now.
Don't forget to come into the match prediction score, guys. I know not some of you might not know about it, but those of us that be on Football Power Hour, we do a match predictor every Friday. But there's one in the community, on my community page. If you guys are also, you know, subscribe to my channel, you could go to the community page and you could leave your predictions there. It's a game week this week, match week 30. We give 3 points for the correct scores, and we give 1 point for the correct result. So, guys, you know, have fun with that. Vicky, they're waiting for your predictions to put them in. So if you get some time.
Yeah, I saw that. Sorry, I'll get on with that.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you for having me, and I hope everybody hit that like button. What is it, like 22 likes? So
22 likes and 40 watching. Guys, we can do better than that. I hope the other 18 of you smash those likes on your way out. Don't forget to share it around and subscribe. And those of you watching on Twitter, please, you know, give it a retweet. It helps the channel grow. Big up to all of you. Glory, glory, Manchester United. And you know how we say it here. If it's Manchester United, it's always Manchester United. Guys, hope you have a great day, and we will catch you all later. Big up. And I will play something you guys haven't seen in a while.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. Subscribe if you have not done so yet. If you want to take it to the next level, you can always show your appreciation to sponsor our channel by clicking below the video title, where you will see the heart icon with the text saying, thanks. Or you could buy me a cheeky little coffee by scanning this barcode, or visit this link to buy me a virtual coffee. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. Remember, glory, glory, Man United. Glazers out. It is green and gold until we are announced and sold. That was all from me. I wish you a good day and a great match experience, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.